and a steady, sullen noise came from the cell blocks, as of many men talking in subdued, tense tones. The official tapped my elbow, and we went through the rotunda and up some stairs. Prison iron stairs. Up and up. There was a real catacomb of prison iron stairs and prison iron galleries, and I thought I could never find my way back to the fishbowl alone. Not that it would do me any good if I could. I'd never be allowed out. The glassed-in guard wouldn't throw his levers at my request. I was locked in until the guard said to lock me out again. Finally, he opened a door, and we were in a small auditorium. There were 150, maybe 200 men waiting for us there. They were dressed in gray, like most prisoners. It was over 20 years since I'd seen a bunch of convicts, but the sight of them brought it all back. I'd been one of them. I still was. Then the official with me got up on the platform and started talking about me. I shook off my sick misery and remembered what I was there for. I'd promised to make a speech in this grim place, a speech that would offer hope and guidance to a couple of hundred losers. How this happened is a long story. What I hoped to accomplish by it I couldn't have said then. What I hope I have accomplished, as it turns out, is an even longer story. While the prison official was introducing me, I found myself reviewing the past. What a long, circuitous road it was that had brought me to this place on this day. I can't say the home in which I was reared was exactly a happy one, but it was what people speak of as a good home, with all the advantages. My father, a Superior Court judge in California, was in comfortable financial circumstances, and my mother was a beautiful woman whose gracious manners won her the admiration of her social circle. My father had a drinking problem, and my parents were separated when I was 12. To say that my adjustment to being alone with my mother, or her adjustment to being alone with me, was poor would be the understatement of the century. Whether my mother was trying to make up to me for the loss of my father's authority, or whether she simply hated me, I can't say now. But at the time, I was sure she hated me. When she disapproved of anything I did, she beat me. It was her mistake. Instead of mending my ways, I rebelled. When I was 16, I committed the ultimate gesture of defiance against her. I invited myself to live with my father, and he accepted me. Mother placed no obstacle in my way, a fact I took as confirmation of her hatred toward me, and father professed himself glad to have me. I didn't believe him. Within months I told him I was running away to sea. That he didn't try to stop me convinced me that he didn't care what I did. The authorities cared enough to have me shipped home when I ran out of money, but by that time I was firmly committed to a career of rebellion and defiance. As I saw it, I was going to force the world to take notice of me. Even so, my first brush with crime was almost accidental. It began with a poker game in which I lost all my money. That was bad enough. Then, after the game, I found the car my father had lent me devoid of hubcaps, radio, and spotlight. At first, I was simply trying to make good my losses by stripping other cars. But then, I found an old World War I revolver, and that spurred me on to bigger games. I pulled 5 stick-ups that very night. The revolver couldn't have been fired, but that didn't stop me. My spree of robberies, which went on for several weeks, finally landed me in reform school. There I found nothing to alleviate my resentment. The Preston State Reformatory at Ione, California, did little to reform me. I arrived there full of fight, landed myself in solitary confinement in short order, emerged even more full of fight, and escaped. When I returned to Preston to finish my term, the man, as all adult authorities are called in reform schools, was more determined than ever to break me, and I was more determined than ever not to be broken. It was then that I received my first beating from a correctional officer.